This podcast is not rated. Listener discretion advised.
Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching every single movie on the top 250 movies of all time list, according to IMDb. And I said every single movie. TC did not punt. And if this is your first episode, don't listen to this episode. And if you're a constant listener, maybe skip this episode.
Yeah. Generally, probably just move on. This is filler right here.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That was more of a proof that we actually watched it sort of thing, I think.
Yeah. It was sort of an odd spot where we got into it, after the week was there and we're like, oh, whoops, too late. So now we're just doing this.
Yep.
And we don't even know what the movie is yet, do we, folks? Oh, wait. If you pay attention, you might.
It was.
Hey.
It's number 155. But first of all, I don't know. I guess don't listen to this one.
I was going to listen to this one.
Just
Don't
move
do
on,
it.
please.
But this is number 155. For the
great,
record, we watched every one.
Whatever we say after this is probably trash and not to be believed or taken seriously or acted upon in any way, please. Thank you.
But yeah, number 155. We're 95 episodes into this journey. And this is the 1976 movie, The Message.
Let me stop you there. I don't even know if you
Wait.
should read the IMDb description. Probably too controversial.
Okay, sounds good. John, it's your turn. Go first. What do you think of this movie?
Absolutely. Go.
I think it's John joking about how offensive it might be to do things might be offensive. I'm scared.
I know, we're screwed.
I think it's a double-edged sword, if you
We're
will.
screwed. I'm sorry, but there's that's why, really no one should be listening to this at all.
No.
Right,
That's it.
because it's also three people that really probably don't have a clue what the fucking
definitely not.
religion is.
0%.
No, I have zero. If it was a Catholic thing, I was brought up Catholic. I can maybe speak to that to some extent. Even a Mormon thing, since I grew up in Utah and was, Mormons were all around me. But that's it. And all of that would still be, just talking out of my backside like I do anyway.
Dude, I'm sitting there at asking friends that are Muslim to be like, help me. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm going to say on this goddamn podcast. If I should say it, how I should say it.
Right.
I'll make fun of priests all day.
Yeah.
That are
Right.
diddling little kids. But this one, I can't even begin to touch.
Yeah. Safe.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a good call there.
Did you get any good advice?
No, because the one, I act like it was a bunch of people. The one person I talked to, and you know who you are, she had never seen it. Surprisingly, even though, and then I talked to another friend who may or may not have been on this podcast, and she loved it. So I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Well, we talking
I'm
about
clueless.
other people's. One thing of interest is this is probably the only movie that we will see where the protagonist cannot be pictured or heard from, and that presents a really astounding challenge.
Well, the funny thing is I talked to my friend, and that's what she said. She was like, "Well, I don't understand this movie because." By default, you're not supposed to.
And there's a
depict-
little of that, even in Ben-Hur, where they would only show Jesus's backside and beautiful hair. So there is some of that, and we see that in some of the other sort of movies that deal with religious subjects. But this one is, particularly prescripted that you cannot show the prophet, so or hear from the prophet. The prophet cannot be sort of present or in.
Yeah, and I thought so. One of the things that confused me is that's fine. But then I thought, I obviously, again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I thought it might be offensive for me to become the prophet because that happens when you become the point of view, when they're talking directly to you. Isn't that?
That's it.
I think we're so worried about being offensive.
Whoa.
We don't know what is or what isn't.
Well, yeah.
That is also intriguing, though, Denny. That is really
that's
striking. Where that's even more possibly upsetting.
I
Right?
would
Because-
Or
think
it's
so,
also
yeah.
a weird choice of the filmmaker because then it's like, that's fuck, Denny,
So
let's
how
just
it,
stay on that one.
I honestly felt very invaded whenever that happened in the movie.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to be point of view right
I'm
now.
not this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
But
would
I'm
you
not
do
the
this?
prophet.
Yeah.
But I'm not the prophet.
How would you go about what if you're, let's see, think about I don't know, you're making a movie about a historical figure and you cannot picture them or have them speak or have them in the frame at all. In fact, I mean, even you could consider it sort of, there was this very odd sequence where you were sort of from the point of view of the prophet and you saw him with his sword. You got to see the sword in the side of the screen. So that seemed even really risky there too,
And there was a cane at the end too, right? When he was tipping stuff over.
Yeah. So I don't know. But how would you do that? Like, what else would you do? Like, if let's say, like,
Better writing.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Or a better, I don't know, but it's a very difficult thing. Like, just as we're nervous, they got to be nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it would be like you could take more. Maybe what you should do, or like regardless of what we thought about Ben-Hur, at least you take an approach where you tell a story that involves somebody alongside the events that are happening and how it impacts that person. Right. So like Ben-Hur did that too, where I just sort of, on one hand, maybe this illuminates the way why Ben-Hur was done the way it was. I don't know, but it still seems strange. It didn't seem like a very Christian story, but whatever. But the idea there is that you sort of like follow his story. His life intersects with Christ, but you don't really see Christ really do anything or speak, or whatever.
Learn about any of his story.
Right,
That's the problem there with that, at least.
But yeah, I guess that. But you see the impact of you supposedly see the impact of the person, right? Or the meaning of the teachings or something like that. And maybe that would be a good way to go about it. Not necessarily that Ben-Hur did that well, but that might be, at least that's a way to still tell a story and have you involved, but not have this strange absence of the central figure, to the point where, people just have to basically repeat what the prophet said, but,
maybe do it from the point of view of somebody that lives in Mecca that never sees him
right.
and just hears about him and like kind of gives you, because the way they do the exposition in this movie, like repeating what he says, kind of just over explaining everything is not fluid filmmaking. Like in terms of just making a film, like how else do you do it? Maybe you don't do it in movie form because you can't show somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, good point.
There were times where I was like, I forgot he was there. I forgot he was even like doing anything this entire time, but he's there the entire time.
There was times where I was like, is he shaking his head? No. Is it yes? What are we doing now?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what is the answer here? Because I'm confused at this POV shot, and they're staring right through me. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Look, the way I'm going to say this movie, this is my review. I saw the opening credits and I saw the end credits. That's about all I got.
Good for you.
Counts.
I'm so scared. I was so scared. Like as I'm walking through this movie, like I didn't even want to watch it because I was just like, I don't know this shit. I'm not going to say that. I'm like nervous, basically, to talk about this.
Yeah, it's understandable. What do you think of the score? The score was Oscar nominated. I didn't think the score was that special. I don't know.
I don't even think I noticed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was relentless, and like the score was most noticeable during the scenes where I thought were the most useless out of all the scenes. Like there are a lot of scenes where people are just dancing around for like 5 minutes that don't add anything to it.
You guys agree this didn't have to be 3.5 hours long.
No,
right?
I don't.
I think we could have cut out a good 40%.
Yeah, there was a lot of.
They're preparing for battles, like when they were walking towards the battle thing. Like you'd see somebody walk half a mile or something,
Right. Like it's epic, but then if you're just holding on it, it's not as, I don't know, it's not as worthy of your attention.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, what I thought, what's the point of sending out your champions if you're just going to go fight each other anyway?
Good question.
I thought, I don't know.
Damn good question.
Like, what's the result? What's the point of that then?
I think maybe the stronger army, like the people with more numbers, would automatically win. Like the people with the smaller numbers would do the champion thing, and if they lost the champion thing, then they'd surrender. But if the people with the larger numbers lost the champion battle, then they'd be like, screw that, we're just going to battle them anyway.
Oh, maybe that's the way it works. Maybe that was, that's good. Maybe that was
But this is like us being like, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
It obviously wasn't very clear.
That's what we do at any podcast anyway, DC.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, I know, but like sometimes you're like, no, this is definitely what they're trying to give us. And it's obvious. But here we're like, well, maybe that's what that is, right? Because it's not clear.
Yeah.
I did actually really like the scene of the former slave when they were like trying to figure out how to call the people to prayer, and they were like sort of discussing, what should we do? And the Christians have this, and they talked about the human voice, and then he goes up there and starts singing. I thought that was pretty cool. It was like, I never really thought about how to call to prayer is done with a human voice for Muslims in Muslim cities, and that's kind of cool. I thought that was like a nice setup. But yeah, that was my favorite part of the film.
I just thought it was.
I wish I could agree.
I just thought it was the Wizard of Oz. I was like,
I'm glad you liked it, John.
I'm
This is just
trying, Eric. Come on.
Yeah, it's
There's
good
a
that
cultural mismatch here too, and maybe
Yes.
maybe it's much better if it's seen in Arabic or not Arab. Would that be the language? See, I don't even
even
know what language
we're
would be
so
the right
screwed
language,
on
right?
this one. We're so
No,
screwed.
so it's just complete total ignorance here, and so to evaluate this, it's challenging, and it's such a divisive subject that it's like, why bother? I mean, I don't see the point. It's not even like trying to take a stand or anything or prove anything. There's no point, and it's just like, no, let's just move on because
It's like watching a textbook.
I just don't see what good would come of like even talking about it. Was the movie entertaining? No, it wasn't.
No,
No.
no, it's boring.
it was very
Um,
boring.
So
And I think if like you're not really interested in philosophical things in religion too, it's hard to even like.
No, I would argue that and saying that I went to this pretty open minded. I was looking forward to like learning some things.
Oh no,
but
I agree. I totally was like hoping
I didn't learn
yeah.
anything from this.
Even Nikki and I were both like thinking, hey, this is great. Maybe we can hear this, we can get the story. And part of the problem is that when you have to leave the main character out all the time, you don't really get to, there's so many gaps then and strangeness about the story, then it's really hard to kind of go along with it.
Yeah, this movie's made for people who already know the story, I think.
I think, no, that's a really good point. I think that it is probably, and it might be like, and I don't know, like, do we have like the 10 Commandments and whatever
No,
on this
we
list?
don't.
Oh, well, that's
Awesome.
good.
I
That
am
is
so
good.
happy
Yeah.
that that's the case. Because like you said, you guys went in open-minded, but I didn't.
Yeah.
My stance on this is irrelevant, but I went into this being like, fuck. There's no way I'm going to like this because I just don't like the whole idea of all of it. Whether it's prophet or, Catholics or the rest. It's
Right.
like all into one thing that I just don't relate to.
Yeah.
But
So
the
it's
origin
tough.
stories could be interesting, even like 10 Commandments or whatever, there's interesting possible, I thought I was hoping that there would be like some interesting stories to be told to kind of understand how this came to be and I don't know. It
Wait, are you
just
saying the 10
didn't-
Commandments is better than this?
What?
I would say that I would equate this to 10 Commandments. I think 10 Commandments is boring as hell.
As hell, yeah.
No,
It
I
doesn't-
agree. You're probably right. But I thought what would make this interesting is that this is something I hadn't heard. At least, like with 10
Right.
Commandments, I knew those stories already, and so I didn't think it was that interesting either. But I thought maybe this would be more interesting because I didn't know the stories, but it didn't feel like there was a lot there in terms of what the story was or even what the message was. I mean,
I think this movie could have been, I think this movie could have been much, much better if it was made better. It was made, I think, just in terms of filmmaking, really, really poorly.
yeah.
I think the editing was crap. I thought the acting was terrible.
Yeah, and
This is the worst
and,
acting I've ever seen.
and the production design wasn't very believable. The way that they looked, their beards looked fake. Like it just looked, I don't know.
Yeah, there was
Yeah, it
a bunch of I don't know, a bunch of English actors playing all these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they spoke English, and a lot of them had English accents. They didn't even try for. I mean, I don't know what kind of accent you would have as an English speaker in a language that doesn't. You wouldn't be speaking English in the first place. So what's the point?
Well, I think you can be
Um,
Muslim and be any language speaker,
Right,
right?
but- But not then, not there, not in Mecca back then. They didn't speak English.
I don't even know. I want to say they didn't, but I have no idea.
I'm sure. No, they didn't. They spoke Arabic, I'm sure. But I also, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
you think that.
But again,
I have
it's
no idea.
really strange the way the movie opens. It's like it opens with the message being accept our God or you're screwed, and that's just like that's the message. That's that's so intolerant.
See this.
Right.
So this is hard because in a regular movie we could criticize this, but this is the most second most popular religion in the world. I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Behind Christianity.
Really?
I think we can't talk about it. Like, you
I
can't
don't
pick
know.
apart the plot of this like a plot of a movie that doesn't make any sense, right? Because
I
people
know.
believe that this is the
Because
way it happens.
doing that would mean you're taking a stance against the religion, right?
Right,
Is what you're
Right.
saying?
So
Yeah.
we got Christianity at 2.1 billion, Islam at 1.3 billion, non-religion, secular, agnostic, atheist. Yay, go us!
Yay.
1.1 billion. So Hinduism is 900 million. Chinese traditional religion. This is whatever turns up with this is from the Register 2006 survey. So I don't know.
Servery.
Yeah. Help me. I've had a
Help.
beer. and
Help me
some
help
wine.
you.
Yeah, So it's tough. I'm sure that, but it's interesting.
As I listen to you, everyone talk, I'm just like, this is going to be hard to edit this fucking episode. God damn it.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
I
Danny.
don't see how we can talk about this movie at all.
I don't think
without
we can,
having
and
it-
I don't think we should.
Yeah, right.
The idea is that, like, I know Denny is that people have like sought out and gotten our YouTube videos on Wasseypur and the cricket musical of all things
Lagan.
taken
Yeah.
Lagan taken down because it's controversial, and they just seek out these things and try and just try to kill them. But the idea is that it's like it's not worth it for us to become a flashpoint. We're so small that it doesn't matter. I don't think.
I don't know
there's
if that's
any-
true because we have
anything-
a vehicle to be able to do this on the way
Yeah.
that we want to, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
being scared of religion is not really the reason why we shouldn't use the things that we're using, which is to be, outspoken about movies. I mean, the
Right.
movie is made, so we
Yeah.
should be able to talk about it however the hell we want to. But I'm with
That'd be
you.
nice. That'd be nice, dude.
I'm
but
with
we
you guys.
can't-
I get the
yeah.
utopia isn't there, right? Like I
Right.
don't
I think like regardless of its historical accuracy or whatever, it's just not a very good film. And
Right.
so,
All right, so that's it. Top
yeah,
250. What do you think?
No.
So right.
All right,
Yeah,
I mean, like that's
moving
it.
on.
We're done. 23 minutes. Call it done.
I
Stand.
think that's. I think that the challenges that they're presented with are really interesting. I would like to. It's interesting to know what the actual historical events are. There's even amongst Muslim, it's debated whether or not this movie is accurate even within their own beliefs. Like they did not get the blessing, quote unquote. I don't know if you can use that word. Of
We don't know
various
shit.
sects. So they had funding pulled because different Muslim governing bodies did not agree that this was a good thing either to do or that it was done correctly. So even within them, it's
There's
it's
no,
quite
there's, how is that
controversial.
even, that doesn't even make sense because like this movie is not deep. It is very simple in its storytelling.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
It's like this happened and then
And
this
then
happened.
this happened. It's very linear and
Yeah.
it's very
One
boring.
possibility is whether or not maybe there's disagreement on whether or not you should be telling this story in this way at all. Like you have your
Right.
holy book, it should be the book, and that's it. You shouldn't have.
But even
you
that's
should not have
fucked up.
depictions. Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, what? You're so holier than now that nobody can talk about it?
No,
That bothers
it's a
me.
matter of it's controlling the message. I mean, like for quite some time, the Bible was only available in Latin, and that was the point: is that only holy people could read the book, could read the word,
God, I
and in
hate
fact,
all
they
this
would do
shit.
masses in Latin. So you would have people going to mass, not speaking Latin, but listening to Latin because that was the holy language, supposedly.
So when they're
That sounds
taking
really
a shit,
fun.
they're speaking to
Right.
themselves in Latin, but yet they're
Right.
still just taking a shit.
So it's
All right.
kind of there's like a control and censorship in terms of like, look, this is the holy word, and we're going to have tight control over who gets to hear it, how they hear it, and how it's depicted.
I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's assholes out there that think that there's a fucking spaceship up in space that everybody goes up to when they die. I mean, I don't know. This is a
Sure.
whole.
There's all kinds of really, really bonkers kinds of stuff that people believe. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should just end this episode.
I think so too, man. This is so difficult, but
I tried to think about it whether or not this is a place to take a stand, and I don't think it is. I just don't think it's worth it.
We're not the kind of people to be able
yeah.
to do that. We're just idiots.
Yeah,
We would
I
need,
know.
people whose lives are this, and
Right.
have a bigger platform. They're the people to do it. We are definitely not the people to do this.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I disagree. But I'm going with you. I'm committing with you guys. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can just leave TC's parts in. I don't know. I'm sort of in the middle on this. I think on one hand, I don't care. On the other hand, like regardless of how terrible things have gotten so far, I at least still have the freedom in the country I live in to believe what I want. I don't feel constrained yet. It maybe at some point I would. And I think that there are some people who want to restrict other people's beliefs. And I think that's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
So, and even to the point where, I mean, I know we criticize, like even we might make fun of other belief systems or whatever, but it's very important that we allow those things to exist as well. Because you have to allow all that stuff. The problem is when somebody tries to restrict another person's belief, or when those beliefs, part of their beliefs is actually then impinging upon another person's rights or freedoms. I think that the idea of violent action as part of enforcing your beliefs is just flat out wrong. And again, usually it's just also ignorance. I mean, the people when there were the protests and the hostages taken, and one person murdered because of this film, it was because they thought someone was actually playing the prophet in the film, which was wrong. But that doesn't matter, right? It's just really more about outrage and
so that was actually a separate thing.
Oh yeah,
when somebody heard Charlton Heston was cast as the prophet, then there were riots and people died. And then also when this movie premiered in DC,
which was not true, right?
Not true. But it was a rumor, and that caused deaths and riots. So just even like the word of it, like the rumor of it, made that happen. And then when it premiered in DC, there was a hostage situation happened. It was called the Hanafi Siege in Washington, D.C., and what is it? A number of people died. There were 149 hostages.
And they did not want this film shown at all, right?
Yeah. So this wasn't the only reason that siege happened, but the guy who led it, there were multiple people saying that this was one of the tipping off points, and they also synchronized it to the premiere night when they wanted to start it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
What do we think, huh?
I mean, this is a really hard one, and you're right.
It's tough.
If Denny, you're in charge here, so if you don't want to talk about it, then we don't talk about it.
I'm not feeling it. This movie upset me, and talking about it upsets me, and I'm ready to be done talking about it.
All right, so.
Hey, guys, so we just did the top 250 by saying no, but next week we're going to watch one that might be, it might be fun.
What is it?
Train Spotting?
Oh, man, that's the one with the heroin, right? Punks and heroin.
Yeah, lots of Iggy Pop.
1996.
It's a pretty good one, right? I mean,
it's supposed to be a comedy, isn't it?
Kinda.
Dark comedy.
Kinda.
Comedy nonetheless, I guess.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Sweet.
Be fun.
So yeah.
Nothing more fun than heroin, man.
Yeah.
I mean, telling you. Actually, I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing it.
I don't think I've seen it since, God, I don't know, college maybe?
Exactly, yeah. It's been a long time since I saw it, so.
Cool. Well, hey, I don't know. Bye, guys.
I don't know. See ya. This one is a wash.
Bye.